Hello everyone, and welcome to the Snap Take I hoped I'd never have to make. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, and Marvel Snap has messed up extraordinarily badly. Today we're going to examine all of the mess-ups, all of the mistakes they've made that got us to this point where I'm actually finally concerned. I never ever say Marvel Snap is dying. I'm actually genuinely concerned about the future of Marvel Snap. A lot of the controversy centers around both Kid Omega and the High Voltage Overdrive game mode. So we're going to start by examining the problems, then we're going to look at Second Inner's response, we're going to look at what they've done right, then we'll look at some problems that are ongoing into the future, and then I'll give you my takeaway. All good? Let's kick it off with Kid Omega. Series 5, 6,000 tokens. Activate. Destroy the next card you play this turn to gain its power. This was our big event mode card for High Voltage Overdrive. I and many others were extremely excited about this card. It was data mined months ago, and we've known what it would do. It is, in fact, immediately upon release, one of the very best cards in all of Marvel Snap. Unfortunately, unlike every other game mode in Marvel Snap, playing this mode does not give us the access to Kid Omega for free. Technically, we can get it for free. We would have to play over 8 hours a day for the whole 9 days of the event with what we're given for free in order to get Kid Omega and nothing else from that shop. That's fundamentally impossible for basically anyone in the game. It would lead to burnout. I can't imagine, after doing that, ever wanting to play Kid Omega or play Kid Omega again. This card is fundamentally a play for discount card. You can play a bunch of a mode in order to get a discount on Kid Omega. That's unacceptable. This has never been done in a limited time game mode, and to do so with the most powerful card ever released in a limited time game mode, barring maybe the original Cassandra Nova, is utterly absurd. This has been a giant disaster to the point where the few content creators I know that bought the card on day one just in order to make content, in order to give impressions to the community, ended up getting so bothered by both the community and the actions of Second Dinner that they donated the money from their streams to children's charities. I'm speaking, of course, about Regis Kilbin and KM Best. I asked in one of my videos, I was like, I don't know if my audience is going to want me to get this card in order to be able to tell them it's how good it is, in order to watch gameplay from it if they can't afford it. It's a tax write-off for me. I'm a content creator. Should I get the card? Overwhelmingly, well over 95% of the responses said, no, please don't get it. No, don't send the message to Second Dinner that this is okay. I did not buy the card. I do not own Kid Omega. This is the first card since the launch of the Spotlight system 2 years ago that I have not owned immediately. And I don't plan to get it until I can get it for tokens in mid-July. That hurts my content. That makes my content worse. That makes less people watch my content. I know it does. It is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. Hell, I featured a deck. Kid Omega's in the best deck in Marvel Snap. I go over the best decks in Marvel Snap every Friday. In going over a Kid Omega deck, I was told not to promote the card. My job is to report on the news of the meta. I'm always going to do that, even if I don't like where the meta is, or I don't like Second Dinner's action. So that's not, unfortunately, a piece of advice I can follow. If Kid Omega's in the best deck, I'm going to say it's in the best deck, and I'm still going to tell you I didn't get it, and you should not either, unless you are very comfortable with what Second Dinner has done. But Kid Omega alone is not the only problem. If this was just one pay-to-win card in isolation, maybe it wouldn't be the end of the world. But the High Voltage Overdrive mode has been an utter disaster. First, the community hated the Spotlight system so very much that they changed it to the Snap Pack system. Spotlights, however, are back in the High Voltage Overdrive mode. You can play a massive amount of High Voltage Overdrive to get yourself certain resources. Those resources let you open for a 1/3 chance at the new card Cobra. That is still extremely expensive. Playing the mode for free for the whole mode, doing all your missions every single day, does not give you the 3 pulls you would need to guarantee Cobra. Cobra's not even a very good card, seemingly. No one's really tested it very much. Cobra's not even seemingly a very good card. But in order to guarantee you can't even guarantee Cobra. You have to run a Spotlight system, which everyone hated and we got rid of, in order to give yourself a chance at this card. There is no free card in this mode for competing in the mode. Further, this mode is Arisham the mode. We have Arisham the card. It is extremely prominent in the meta, but we got Arisham the mode. And worse, it has numerous bugs. The worst of which is if you don't play any charged cards in a game, it can reset your charged counter, meaning you have to redo the whole mission. There's numerous game-breaking bugs in this mode. This seems like it was under-tested and underexplored. They didn't bother to use any of their resources. I'm going to tell you right now, they didn't bother to use any of their resources. They didn't talk to a single content creator about what this looks like, about how this felt. No one got to play test or check this outside of the internal second dinner team. And every content creator within 5 minutes of this came out was like, here are the problems. Why didn't you tell us? We could have prevented this. And here we are. We have an extremely buggy mode that it takes no time to find all the bugs on, and a mode that is fun for very few players, largely players who really enjoy Arishem incredibly, that it seems to be fun for very few players that they're expected to play as a chore. That chore is sort of the Sanctum Sanctorum issue. The Sanctum issue, where the shop was extremely generous and extremely lucrative, it had a lot of really, really great stuff in it. It required you to play a crazy amount of hours per day. You had missions, but even above and beyond the missions, you had to play and play and play and play constantly in order to be able to use the mode, in order to be able to like get anything valid out of the shop. That here is still the case. Worse, there's no way to save or hold over missions. You get 3 missions at a time, and if you are asleep, if you are in a time zone where you cannot grind out those missions because that's a time you're asleep, that's a time you're at work, whatever, in that time period, and that then you miss those missions. The missions won't reset. You're going to be stuck with this holdover mission, and you don't get any of those credits. So you have to not only play every day, but you have to play not only play 3 times a day, but play at specific times. If you have one slot of time in your life to play Marvel Snap, you cannot get anything worthwhile out of this mode. That's absurd. Marvel Snap was maybe meant for children with short attention spans, for the TikTok generation, but the majority of players in Marvel Snap are adults with jobs. I know this. I can see my audience data. I know I've spoken to Regis, I've spoken to KM, I've spoken to all the top creators. The audience data for this game is largely adults who love this game partially because they can fit it into their busy life and work schedule. Sanctum, much like High Voltage Overdrive, are a betrayal of that core concept by forcing you to play so very much more. But even worse for Overdrive, it forces you to play on a schedule that does not fit with adult lives. I'm in the process of organizing the biggest move of my life. I'm a content creator. I make a ton of Marvel Snap content. I work extremely hard on this. I have no chance of completing all those missions. I just don't. There's no time for me to complete missions without any holdover. There's no excuse for this. We've been telling them this since the first High Voltage, when it didn't matter much because you can get everything you wanted, even if you only did 2 out of 3 missions every day. They have instead said, not only do you need to do 2 out of 3 missions every day, you now need to grind an insane amount on top of that. That is an absurd and crazy way to handle this. And finally, as a content creator, this one hits close to home. There's a Twitch drop bug. When they switched over the shop, they no longer have the ability to do Twitch drops in Marvel Snap right now. They had planned to give us something like 3,000 volts in a Twitch drop. That was still not going to be enough to push us anywhere, really. But content creators, those who promote the game because Second Dinner doesn't, those who tell people that the game is worth playing, those that are watched and respected and cared about, don't get the Twitch drops. But not only that, the entire community gets screwed, because now there are no daily volts. They've been completely unclear over whether the daily volts in our inbox are supposed to make up for that or not. But even so, we will get less volts from those daily than we would from Twitch drops. So not only do they hurt the creator community in this, they then give us fewer volts. Instead of giving us the extra volts after this is extremely poorly taken, they give us fewer volts on top of everything. So after a few days, Second Dinner responds, and we get this response that I'm going to read verbatim. I'm going to stop and give feedback. We want to thank everyone for providing your honest feedback about High Voltage Overdrive and its rewards, specifically Kid Omega. Okay. The intent behind Kid Omega's pricing was to offer players a significant discount off the price of a Series 5 card using volts. We set a precedent in previous limited time game modes, and we didn't clearly set new expectations, which caused frustration. No. First, bullshit. Calling bullshit right away. You set an expectation. It is not your job as a company to reset expectations. You can't just do that. Anyone in business will tell you that. Once you set an expectation, if you want to reset those expectations, even with warning, you are going to face significant feedback. This is not an acceptable practice. Even with warning, yes, warning would have mitigated the anger over this. But without a pop-up in the game, trying to warn people through Discord and Twitter is not a way to warn the gaming public. So many of the game's players, trust me, I'll release a new card and people are like, I've never seen that before. Don't interact with Twitter. Don't interact with Discord. They watch videos occasionally, and some don't even do that. They didn't set this as a new expectation, but the new expectation in the first place is unacceptable. Play for a discount is a joke, especially when it's using a new currency or a premium currency. Play for a discount on tokens? Sure. If this was a discount on tokens, I bet you a lot of that goes away. But the discount is on gold cost. Gold, which is a premium currency gotten mostly through spending money. If you said tokens, which you can earn in game, we're going to give you a discount on tokens, that's a different situation. But no, we're going to discount how much money you have to spend, and you cannot get this for over a month using tokens. Is not the same thing. We will set better expectations for future event rewards, including when cards like Kid Omega will be added to the series pack pool. It's, again, not acceptable remotely, which will be next month, a full month before the majority of the player base can get Kid Omega. Lovely. Our aim is for all new limited time game awards to hit their respective pools around 30 days after its debut. Never before done, it used to be right after the event. So now, in order to force players to spend money, they're going to say you have to wait 30 days. You have to wait a month after the game mode ends to get the card, so that you're forced to spend money if you want to play with the new thing. You can't spend tokens, you can't earn your way there. You have to either choose to spend your actual money, or you cannot get the card. We'll continue to iterate when it comes down to later game modes play and how we structure their rewards. Our goal for all these modes is to have something that players want to earn. What are we earning? Because we're not earning a card, regardless of the level spent. We're not earning shit. No one's getting anything they want to earn. Some events will be more focused on free-to-play rewards, while others may include other rewards that provide more purchase value. Oh, so they want to milk us. Got it. For the reminder of this high voltage overdrives, we'll be sending on-time delivery of a one-time delivery of 2,500 volts to players. Okay, so if those 500 were already happening, we're getting 2,500 volts. That is less than we would have gotten than the 3,000 we expected from not having Twitch drops. We're getting 500 less volts than we would have gotten for free during Twitch drops, and they say this is for the bugs dampening volts and XP acquisition. They say that this is because of the bugs, but then what are they doing for the 3,000 we would have gotten for Twitch drops? Nothing? It was also pointed out that it's cheaper to directly buy supplement volts for gold as opposed to have more expensive mission refresh. That was unintended. We'll look at fixing that in the future. Oh, great. So they'll look at fixing that in the future, but this is still a disaster. To lead off, improving our communication around events ahead of time, we'll be sharing details about next week's Sanctum event very soon. That's cute. Happy they're doing that. Don't care. The communication was the smallest part of the problem here. The sheer greed of the company was the problem. The communications team can take all the blame they want for this. They're not the problem. Griffin's team is not the problem here. The problem is that they're greedy. If they're short money, then they need to be transparent. If they're like, we're going to have to charge for things because transferring our game to an internal publisher was more expensive than we thought, and thus we're going to increase prices for a little bit. We're very sorry, but this is for the health and future of the game. That's one thing. But without any transparency, without the ability to do that, this just looks like they're ripping us off. Your feedback is not only helpful, but key to the future of Marvel Snap. We'll come back to the future of Marvel Snap later. This conversation isn't one and done. It evolves just like the game, and your feedback helps shape it. We're committed to keeping that conversation open. We'll never be perfect for everyone, but our goal is fairness and transparency. What transparency? What fairness? You can pay money if you want to win games of Marvel Snap. And if you don't pay money, enjoy losing more games. Good luck. Anyone who pays can win. Please note the responses to this. 477 people throwing this response in the trash. 359 laughing. Death face for 360. Thumbs down for 474. I don't even know what that other one. Oh, another down for 334. The responses here are terrible. This is an absolute joke. This answer is as big a disaster as the original Kid Omega Sin. We did just come off a very short Marvel Snap Golden Age. 4 to 5 months of the game's 3 years of life. We got the best series drop ever. We're going to ignore for the time being that the best series drop ever followed concern with the worst series drop ever immediately before. We did an extra short series drop and then immediately followed with the best series drop ever a few months later because of how poorly the original was looked at. However, even this Golden Age is going to come with caveats. Ready? We don't know if series drops exist going forward. How does a new player get into the game? if there are no series drops? How does a new player get into the game at anything like an affordable price when Series 4 and 5 continue to get more and more bloated? Without series drops in the future, we're already starting to feel the effects of that with new players who are coming back to the game before this most recent set of disasters. We have Snap Packs, which are the biggest benefit. Straight up, Snap Packs are the biggest positive change to Marvel Snap in the history of the game. Since the advent of Series 4 and 5, they're huge. We also have the promise of Archetype or other types of packs that will help players catch up. However, have you heard word of Archetype or other types of packs? Because I haven't. And trust me, my ear is to the ground. It's something I ask about constantly. I'm getting no answers. Doesn't seem like a priority. New players don't seem like a priority. Things that make them immediate bursts of money seem like a priority, but we were told Archetype Pack. It's been 3 months. Where are they? The Marvel Snap had a huge outage, and they were extraordinarily generous in their gifts and prizes thereafter. If you are positive, I mean, the outage wasn't, but that was outside of Second Dinner's control. Another big change that's positive, variants give us the base card. That is obviously absolutely great. No notes. Let's keep that going. It is, however, another way to sell us things, because people weren't buying Series 4 and 5 bundles that had for cash, because you wouldn't get the card. You would still have to open the card. You would still randomly get that card. It would be really, really frustrating. This is a benefit to the players, but it's also a benefit to Second Dinner. Make no mistake. If I buy the current in-shop Gladiator bundle and I don't own Gladiator, now I get the base Gladiator. If I didn't own Gladiator, I might not buy that bundle if I didn't get the base card, because I'd be worried about still opening that card and it being an utter waste later. You see the issue here? So we both benefit from the new system, which is ideally how it goes, but it is a huge benefit to players. And then the other benefit to players is tournaments. Tournaments have been incredible. Tournaments and Snap Packs drew a lot of people back to Marvel Snap. Sorry. Upcoming problems, then we'll do my takeaway, excuse me. I really, really hope they revisit this. But the plan is for, September, that's not how months work, July and August, to feature premium cards for $20. I.e., you buy the Season Pass Premium, you can get an extra Series 4 card for that extra $10. No other extra benefit has been added. Not all the other goodies that you get for $10 in the Season Pass, right? But you'll get a Series 4 card. Fantasticar and the new Silver Surfer are those Series 4 cards. So they're doubling the price for those cards. But what happens if I want Fantasticar and I don't really care about Mr. Fantastic for whatever reason, right? Sooner or later that's going to happen. What happens if I want First Steps Silver Surfer, who seems great, and don't care about First Steps Galactus, who honestly doesn't seem like anything special to me? That's still $20. I still have to spend $20. I have to spend $20 for that extra card. No other way to buy it. No other outcome. The easiest thing to do in the world, if they actually wanted to benefit players, and I've told them this internally 1,000 times, I promise. I've told them, what you do for the premium pack is you offer a Series 4 or 5 card variant, so that if I like that variant, I can spend the extra $10 for that variant, and if I don't like that variant, I don't have to, but if I don't own the card, I can buy it, get the variant, then get the base card. So let's say this is a Fantastic Four season, so the core Galactus, original OG Galactus, is a variant of that is our premium variant. I want that Galactus variant, I can buy that. I don't want that Galactus variant, I can skip it. But if I don't own Galactus, I can now spend $10 and get extra Galactus. I can increase my collection. No, instead, let's increase the card pool and make everyone fall further behind while forcing them to spend an extra $10 a month. Great. Gifting is dead. I've been trying to figure out, I'm moving to Vietnam in less than a month. I don't know how many of you know that. This is the first time I'm saying this on the channel. There's going to be a big announcement of this huge, honestly, sub-streamability thing I need to do, because moving is ridiculously, crazily expensive to uproot your whole life. Gifting is dead. I'm trying to do this huge giveaway, and I don't know how to give away in Marvel Snap right now. They killed that in the webshot. I'm a fairly generous content creator. I give away something like 10 season passes and a bunch of bundles every month. I can't do that right now. There's no way to do that. They killed it. There's no word on whether we're getting more tournaments. We waited 2 days to get the announcement for the second tournament, but we've heard nothing about the third tournament. Are we going to get warning? Are we going to know? Can people perhaps plan their lives around where this is going to happen? I also have a concern that will not be an issue yet, but is a concern when we get that announcement. I assume we're getting more tournaments? Question mark. As far as I'm aware, even the people involved don't know yet. But my nightmare concern is if they're going to release extraordinarily high RNG cards like Arisham and Nightmare, tournaments values go down. Seeing who gets lucky Nightmare hits is not an effective way to run a tournament. And finally, coming immediately is Sanctum Showdown. At the end of this month, we get a second game mode. Now, pairing Classic High Voltage with Sanctum Showdown is a thing that makes sense to me. Classic High Voltage is not a high time investment mode, but High Voltage Overdrive is an extremely high time investment mode. Sanctum was previously the most high investment mode that we had. You had to play a lot of Sanctum in order to get anywhere. Is that going to be changed after a previous high engagement mode? I doubt it. Also, the real benefit of grinding in Sanctum was getting Series 4 and 5 cards cheap. If that's gone, if we can no longer use this as a catch-up mechanic to get cards in Marvel Snap, well, now it's actually time for my takeaways. So, my takeaway is that this is completely unacceptable. That second dinner has officially jumped the shark, and for the first time ever, I'm actually worried that Marvel Snap is dying. Players are leaving. I'm seeing alliances lose players left and right, and that's the engaged player base. The player base that knows enough of Marvel Snap to join an alliance, to engage with other players on things like Discord. That's gone. It doesn't seem to exist. People are leaving this game in droves. I will be doing my one big giveaway because I have to move and I need the money. I didn't know this was coming and I'm very sorry. I'm not buying Kid Omega, I'll use my stored resources. But from this point on, I'm a Season Pass only buyer. I don't know if I'm getting the premium. I haven't decided yet. Again, I will probably leave it up to my community, whether you want to see the new card be examined. But Secondary needs to fix this. They need to figure out what they're going to do. They need to announce a plan to not only fix this, but to ensure this does not happen again. As of right now, this could have been prevented. Even without anything else, this could have been prevented. Preventing it is this simple. There is a creator program of over 400 creators, and even if they don't trust that whole program, even if they don't believe that everyone has the game's best interest at heart, they clearly trust It's Guess Gaming can best. They're involved in 1,000 things internally in the game, and they were given no heads up. They were given no warning. Everyone saw this coming. Anyone could have prevented this. This kind of mistake is completely unacceptable. I love Marvel Snap. It is not only my favorite game ever, it is, in my opinion, the very best gameplay, and the game that fits my life the best. When I want to go make content for another game, games that take such a long time, things that I don't have the time and ability to do that. But Marvel Snap, because of the way it's made, because of how things come out, provides me this constant stream of content, this constant stream of ways to be interested and engaged in the game. Second Dinner is killing that love, and they need to stop. This is the darkest day in Marvel Snap, in my opinion, outside of, I guess, the outage. But once we knew it was coming back, this is the darkest day in Marvel Snap. I will personally be boycotting everything but the Season Pass. I will buy nothing in this game but the Season Pass until this is fixed and we get guarantees that this will not happen again. I urge my audience to do the same. I'm so sorry for the tone of this, and I hope to never have to make this kind of video again. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow for a regular deck video. Peace.